What's going on, world? It's your boy VO the Face, FO in the building. Yeah, man, we 50% fuss, 50% fantasy football, yet 100% facts. Y'all know what time it is. I'm here with the gang, Jay Reed, Silly C, Minnie, gang, FO gang. Shout out, man. If you want to help us grow our gang, man, we are looking to put people on the set. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and you come a part of the Fuzz Sports Mafia. That will get you logged in with stuff like the Bucket List, F4, Wild Horse. We also got a few other things in the work, but I can't just tell you everything right now. But we will tell you everything you need to know about your fantasy team as we go into more of the top 100. We're at 75 to 51.
Got game and bad as hell. The black chain got swag for sale because he got game. Don't try to front. You do what you can. We do what we want. That's why he got game. Go ask your homie. Young baby like a fashion show. I ain't have to stunt, but yeah, I have to glow. That's how you know. That's how you know. That's how you know.
That's how you know. That's how you know that he got game, man. Black Chain. Shout out to my boy Forensic, Silly C, and B Down. We getting it popping. We gonna keep it pushing. Let's go into some of these players. I was jamming to the music so hard I forgot to screen share, but we gonna get that popping now. So here we are, and here they are, man. That is your top 75 through 51 players. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We started with Jay Reeves last time, so let's start with Silly C this time. What's on your mind, man?
I want to talk about Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, you know, I know everybody's all speculating on how his counterpart's going to do and how much time he'll get. But last year he had 180 fantasy points, which is pretty good for the position he'll be drafted in. 198 rushes for 841 yards for 6 touchdowns. That 6 touchdowns will probably lead you to the promised land if you can get him in a good round. So just keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, definitely be some high draft value in there. I think the most important player to Kareem Hunt in this situation isn't even a player. It's that head coach, Kevin Stefanski, and his commitment to the ground game. He keeps it pushing through his hogs, man, and it's definitely dope to see what Kareem Hunt brings to the table. Cody, you think Kareem Hunt's production last year, though, all those numbers you just rambled, all them facts you just rambled off, you think that has anything to do with the Nick Chubb injury? I do believe Nick Chubb missed about 6 weeks last year. Do you see how's that going to shake out?
I think Nick Chubb will definitely start out as a starting running back. But again, you know, Kareem Hunt's coming back from putting his foot on people he probably shouldn't put his foot on. So with that, he's not going to get the time he wants. But if he continues to prove that he can ball out, I feel like he will be able to do it. And I think he might actually take Chubb's job come late in the season. So just keep that in mind.
I don't see that happening. I think
just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. You heard it from me. You heard that from me. This guy.
I'm gonna have to touch on that. Well, last year, I want to say Kareem Hunt had 11 total touchdowns. Correct?
Yeah, he had 5 receiving.
He did. Yeah, Kareem Hunt was out there doing his thing. It was a little shaky to me because I had Kareem Hunt on all 3 of my fantasy teams. And he was started out in the flex position. Then my running backs went to turds, and I had to put him in the starting running back position. And he held up pretty well. The one thing that I did notice about him is his production went down a little bit when he had the backfield to himself. And I didn't like that at all about Kareem Hunt. I think he should be on par for about 7 touchdowns this year. I think he will be a nice addition to Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb is that guy.
Yeah, I mean, Minnie, is there a better second running back on any team? I know we talked about Javonte Williams, but is he the best backup running back in the league, Kareem Hunt?
I think he actually might be, man. Kind of like what Jay Reeves just said. When he was healthy and Nick Chubb was healthy, there was probably no better one. Once he got past his suspension, mind you, there was no better 1-2 punch in the league. And obviously, let's not kid ourselves. Like, yeah, the Browns have Odell and Landry. The reason Kareem Hunt popped out in Kansas City is because you had a guy named Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. So, of course, I think Nick Chubb is the key to Kareem Hunt's success.
All right, man. So he differs from me in that. I wonder where Jay Reed differs from Silly C. What is one of the most impactful players you see on this list?
Man, I'm going to take it on down to Duval. Yes, sir. I'm talking about them Jacksonville Jaguars. They got a stud from Clemson. The boy Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The only thing really standing in Etienne's way is James Robinson.
Yeah.
And James Robinson actually is a really solid back. I know James Robinson actually led somebody that I know to a title. You know what I'm saying? Because he was able to pick him up off the waiver wires. James Robinson wasn't still, but this boy Travis Etienne, he's really smooth. They're going to use him. They're going to start out using him as the pass-catching running back. But I'm expecting big things from this dude.
Yeah, I mean, James Robinson, I'm that homeboy that was aforementioned that I got James Robinson, and he took me to the promised land. I had a 50% chance on getting it right because I took that one guy, he had a harder name to pronounce, Ojoke or something. It was a more African type dialect.
Okenbuzi.
Okojoke or something.
I don't know.
I actually drafted him because the running back field was so up in the air. I'm like, somebody got to get the start. And then by week 2, it was apparently obvious that this kid, James Robinson, was everything they were touting him to be. So I ended up picking him up and riding him all the way to the promised land for my first chip in my league. So, I mean, big things. These Jacksonville running backs are bookending this because I think I've seen James Robinson at 75, and then we got my man Etienne a little bit higher than that. So kind of seems like it's up in the air again. So, throw a dart and, trust who you got to trust. Cody, who are you trusting from this 75 to 51 list?
I actually might be going a little higher up on the list, but Deontay Johnson. I think with the way Ben Roethlisberger is going to come back with purpose and a reason to actually compete, and damn, they were 11-0 last year. Let it be known that they were the best team until a few hiccups, which I don't think that'll happen this year. I think they might have a chance of repeating. One of the things I do caution is Ben Roethlisberger's health, if he can stay healthy. Mm-hmm. But if he can, Deontay Johnson is definitely somebody you want in your lineup.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers that are actually kicking off the season right as we speak against the Dallas Cowboys. Minnie, you got a score on that?
Actually, I do. I had Deontay Johnson last year.
No, I mean Dallas on and.
Pittsburgh. Right now it's actually last time I saw about 10 minutes ago was 3-0 Dallas still.
All right, so just a preseason game. We still in preseason form. I do want to check the Carfax on Deontay Johnson. So I want to go to somebody that owned him last year and talk to me every week about his ups and downs. What do you think about Deontay Johnson, Minnie? Let me check them Carfax.
What I noticed, he's kind of a do-or-die player. But I will say this, I do agree with Cody. He did more for me than he died more for me. You know what I mean? Kind of a deal. But there was a few games where his health was in question. And, he went out. Just to give you a little concept, I had Julio and Deontay Johnson the same week, 1 week. And I started Julio and sat Deontay, and it bit me in the butt, and I wish I wouldn't have. I think it's a good decision to have him on your squad for sure, especially if you can get him in like the mid rounds.
Yeah, I mean, and that's always the decision. It sounds like just something so little like, I dropped a game, but you ended up missing the playoffs by 1 game. So every game is important. And here to walk you through the steps, you're going to have your boys from F4, man. We're going to be here to hold you down, and we're going to start the season off right.
Hey, before we get off of Deontay Johnson, can I just spit some facts right quick?
Facts.
Facts?
The Bull had 88 catches, but 144 targets.
Oh, he was targeted heavily.
That was stupid. I see them.
923 yards.
Pull it back up, man. 923 yards.
7 touchdowns.
That
I'm just saying,
average
while you guys
needs to
are
go up.
all saying that, I'm saying that to say this, man. Like, he should have had about 10 more receptions and probably about 100 more yards and another touchdown. That probably would have got my boy Minnie over the hump. But he's got to step up a little bit. I'm a little worried about Deontay Johnson, but he is that dude.
You know what's wild with the arrival of Najee Harris, and the Pittsburgh saying they're going to try to recommit to the ground game. Deontay Johnson's actually projected for more targets this year, up from 144 to 146. That is crazy, man. If he does get 146 and doesn't get 100 balls this year, then I'm gonna be really concerned about the
Or 1,000 yards. I bet you.
And also,
1,000.
to clarify, I did not miss the playoffs this last year. I just lost week 1.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It was fantasy basketball where I missed the playoffs by 1 game.
I thought and then after you got out, then your players started booming. I think you had Kamara with the 7 touchdown Thanksgiving
on Christmas.
or Christmas.
That was insane.
Yeah, that won a lot. That swung a lot of leagues, and it does suck when you're eliminated. Then your team starts to pop off.
Yep. But I will say, Deontay Johnson did get me there. He's a heavily targeted guy. He plays how you want to play him. So, moving on.
Definitely, man. Jay Reeves, who else you want to talk about in this top?
Man, I want to talk about my boy Kenny G, man. Kenny Galladay. He changed uniforms. He's on a new team. Man, last year, 20 receptions, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he only played in 5 games. He had a little hamstring scare in training camp just recently.
Yep.
And that's not looking too good, man. Kenny G was really one of the guys that I really wanted to target. You can get him in like those mid-level rounds. And now I'm almost thinking I'm just want to stray away from him, man. Like, I don't want anything to do with his music.
Yeah, I mean, at 6'4", he did change that Detroit blue for that New York Giants blue, but I do think he could still be productive. Daniel Jones, he's got to make it happen, even though it's less talked about, but he's in a shit or get off the pot. He's in a Drew Lock situation. Perform or get out of here. And New York's not going to take it easy on him. So Daniel Jones has to pop, and in order for his success, we're going to need a successful Kenny G. I'm not exactly singing the same notes that you are, but I think Kenny G will be playing a lot of fantasy owners the blues. Typically known as a player that I always wish I had him on my team, but I never draft him. But I'm like, damn, I wish I'd have got him. But this year, I think I'm just going to be good. Like, I'm not going to draft him again, and I think I'm going to be okay with that. But sometimes you got to be all right with that. You got to find a solution within yourself. That wraps up this segment. Remember, F4, we 50% fuss, 50% fantasy football, but 100% facts. We in here, F4. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see the later videos. We go into the top 50.